So those of you who have been listening to my videos for a while, you know that all of my videos in some form, way or another have something to do with Israel. Israel and the salvation of Israel. So why does it appear that I'm veering off course this morning and talking about the so-called caravan from Central America, Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador, coming in through Mexico, through the Mexican border? They just beat just overran the police, and now Mexico doesn't want to stop them. In fact, there are videos of them actually going in and pillaging towns, just overwhelming the towns with what is now 17,000 people in this particular so-called caravan. Like I said, there are videos being posted by Mexicans on YouTube showing these people going in and robbing and pillaging the store in Mexico. Why is this not being stopped? What's going on here? All right. And of course, it is intended just before the midterm elections in the United States. And while Donald Trump is shouting on top of his lungs about it, the Democrats are just silent, quiet as a mouse. What's the deal here? Are they involved or are they not? Or is there somebody else, something else involved here? Is there a third party? Okay. So I've been doing some searching and I found an article. I guess it's called the Independent Sentinel.com. And this is by S. Noble. It was posted this morning. Honduran president points to dangerous socialist funder of caravan mob. Let's have a look, shall we? Venezuela. Venezuela? Venezuela doesn't have any money. How can they be funding this mob? Venezuela is funding the illegal immigrant caravan, Vice President Mike Pence said Tuesday, backing up President Trump's claims that there are bad elements within the thousands of people. Mr. Pence, standing with Mr. Trump in the Oval Office, reported he spoken earlier in the day with the Honduran president, who told him the caravan was organized by leftist groups and funded by Venezuela, a country deeply at odds with the administration. At the president's direction, I spoke to President Hernandez of Honduras, said Pence, and he told me that the caravan that's now making its way through Mexico headed for the southern border was organized by leftist organizations and financed by Venezuela. And if you look at this article, you can see in Spanish, they're talking about how communists, I don't speak Spanish, and this is some very strong words in these Twitter postings here. I see demonic and communist in some of the words. These are Mexicans that are saying this. All right. The president joked about the Democrats paying for it too, and Jim Acosta asked him about how serious he was. The president said they'd find out about that too, meaning Democrat funding. Maybe they Democrats, bad mistake too, he said. A number of groups tied to the caravan mob do have wealthy Democrat donors. DHS has confirmed that there are gang members and criminals in the caravan mob, which, of course, proves that the videos that were taken by these poor, innocent Mexicans who are being mobbed by this gang of thugs that began as supposedly women and children. Honduras has one of the highest murder rates in the world, and the Caravan started the murder capital of the world in Honduras. It is easy to enter Honduras, and terrorists could easily be in the group, as the president suggested. The U.S. intelligence has reported the presence of terror cells in Central America. There is no doubt that many of the people in the Caravan mob are probably good people, but they've been weaponized by leftists preying on their lack of knowledge or their desire for riches. Anyway, they have Bartolo Fuentes. He's one of the hard left Honduran government radicals. So I don't want to get into that point right now, and you can go and read the rest of it if you want to. But Venezuela, how is Venezuelan government doesn't have the money to be paying these people? Okay, let's look at another article. Not an article, but um, on Wikipedia, Russia Venezuela relations. When I scroll down, of course, you can go and read if you want to, all through the Chavez area. It's a long deal. Um, they've had in 2008, Chavez and Russia discussed 46 potential cooperation agreements during an intergovernmental commission. Venezuelan Vice Presidents Ramon Carrizales and Sechin reviewed a series of initiatives that Chavez and Russian President Dmitry Medvedev would sign later in the month. Maduro added to aggressive foreign policy initiatives sought by Chavez and saying that the unipolar world is collapsing and finishing in all aspects, and the alliance with Russia is part of that effort to build a multipolar world. I do remember Russia talking about the unipolar world collapsing. Putin said something about that lately. Did he not? Interesting. I heard that. Oh, but so back in 2015, Putin accuses the U.S. of creating a unipolar world. Okay, you start to get what's going on here. So you connect the dots, and what do you get? This eventually goes back to Russia. Furthermore, since another website accuses the Obama administration or the former Obama administration of being a part of this. And if I hope I didn't get rid of this particular article, because there was an article where I did, where, where was it? Honduras, I believe it was, or was it Guatemala? Honduras. There was a president or of one of those countries that was trying to usurp authority that he did not have and try to. I wish I didn't delete that. But basically, the Supreme Court forced him into exile. Let me see if I could find it. Hmm. Let me see. Maybe it was Honduras. Probably was Honduras. I can't find it now, but it has to do with apparently Obama and John Kerry were upset that this guy was sent into exile because he was a leftist, overreaching his authority, usurping powers that he did not have, trying to create a dictatorship in one of those two countries. And the Obama administration was involved in that. It was a leftist fella. But another thing that happened that I keep mentioning, and that was the Obama's open mic incident with Russia. And I will go ahead and play this.
President Obama was far from Washington today in South Korea for a summit with world leaders on nuclear security. But he couldn't escape presidential politics, not after a live microphone picked up a comment that he made to the Russian president. Senior White House correspondent Bill Plant is traveling with the president in Seoul tonight. Bill?
Scott, President Obama and outgoing Russian President Medvedev were still deep in conversation as cameras were ushered into the room. And President Obama was overheard giving Medvedev a very candid political assessment of his ability to deal with the major problems between the U.S. and Russia. All of the issues can be solved, the president told Medvedev. He stressed that it was particularly important for incoming Russian President Vladimir Putin to give him space on the missile defense system, which the U.S. and NATO want to install in Europe.
My last election, yeah, and after my election, I have more flexibility. And I just think it's let him understand.
Okay, there you have it. So concerning the missile defense situation, Barack Obama tells Medvedev, the president of Russia at the time, that after the election he will have more flexibility. And Medvedev says that he will relay the information to Vladimir, and I am with you. Remember, he said to Barack Obama, I am with you. So what happened this past, the beginning of the week, late last week, beginning of this week? Donald Trump, the president of the United States, current president of the United States, says that he is going to cancel the treaty, missile treaty with Russia. Okay. Russia fires back after Trump threatens to ditch nuclear arms treaty. So how are they going to fire back? Is this the Caravan funded by Venezuela actually funded by Russia? Why? And why the timing? Why the timing? Well, for one, now I'm going to give you my personal opinion. And my personal opinion is just like everybody else's. It's worth what you pay for it. Nothing. Okay? My personal opinion, though, is to foment unrest in the United States, just like the Russians did during the 2016 election. And for what reason? The Middle East. As I keep saying, the um, 67 war. The set is 6-day war. We are in repeat mode. We are, how do I say this? We are in a repeat of history. We have many of the same players involved in this fiasco in the Middle East concerning Israel. And Russia did not attempt just one time to overthrow Israel so that they would have complete hegemony over the entire Middle East, but they tried twice. And Russia also has a history of using events that distract people to do their bidding. For instance, the Sochi Winter Olympic Games, and then the annexing of Crimea during that time. You see, distract and then do your dirty deeds when everybody's distracted. So I believe the case can be made that Russia is behind this particular distraction coming up from Central America to the border of the United States. That's my opinion. We shall see what transpires here, folks. But I have a feeling that we're going to have a tumultuous next couple of weeks. Not just here in the United States, but also in the Middle East. We shall see. And furthermore, let us not forget, mark your calendar, for the first day of Hanukkah, the 24th day of the 9th month on the Hebrew calendar, and on the Gregorian calendar, December the 2nd. Mark your calendar. It is possible something huge might occur that day, or maybe I should say that night.